A 10-year-old boy with a prosthetic leg limped into the Copper Bean coffee shop, rejected by every table he approached. When he stopped in front of a tattooed biker covered in scars, his voice barely broke through the noise. "Can I sit here?" Everyone else said no. What happened next would expose an evil so twisted it would shake an entire neighborhood. The Copper Bean sat on Madison and 3rd like it had for 20 years. Exposed brick walls, mismatched furniture, and coffee that actually tasted like someone cared. On this Sunday morning, the comfortable hum stopped when a 10-year-old boy stepped inside. He moved carefully, limping with each step, his left leg replaced by a poorly fitted prosthetic. His clothes hung loose on a too-thin frame, and his eyes darted around like a small animal searching for shelter. He was looking for a table, any stranger who might show kindness. The first table held a young couple. Before Ethan could speak, the woman shook her head and turned away. The second table held businessmen who suddenly became intensely focused on their papers. The third table held a mother with 2 children. She pulled her kids closer and said loudly, "Where are his parents?" Not "Are you okay?" Just judgment. The boy's face flushed red, but he kept moving. In the back corner sat Marcus, 41 years old, 6 feet 3 inches, with arms covered in tattoos. A scar cut through his eyebrow, another along his jaw. His leather vest bore Hell's Angels patches earned through loyalty and years on the road. He was drinking black coffee and reading a book, minding his business. Then footsteps stopped in front of his table. Ethan's voice came out barely above a whisper. "Please, can I sit here?" Everyone else said no. Marcus didn't hesitate. He pushed the chair out with his boot. "Yeah, kid. Sit." As Ethan moved toward the chair, his legs wobbled and he stumbled. Marcus caught him, steadying him with gentle hands. When Ethan settled into the seat, his sleeve shifted. Marcus saw yellow bruises spreading across his forearm, purple marks circling his upper arm in a pattern he recognized. Adult-sized fingerprints that had gripped hard enough to leave their mark. "What's your name?" he asked gently. "Ethan," he whispered. "You hungry, Ethan?" He nodded. Marcus ordered him a sandwich, chips, and hot chocolate. When the food arrived, Ethan stared at it like it might disappear. He ate like someone who hadn't seen food in days, his hands trembling, his eyes darting up to make sure Marcus was still there. Finally, between bites, he spoke. "I'm not supposed to be here." "Where are you supposed to be?" "Home." The word came out flat, empty. "But I couldn't stay there anymore." "Why not?" His hands started shaking. The sandwich fell onto the plate. His breathing quickened. His eyes filled with tears. Then the dam broke. "He hurts me," Ethan choked out. "My uncle. After my parents died in the accident, after I came to live with him, everything changed." Marcus's blood went cold. "How'd you lose your leg, Ethan?" Shame flooded his face. He said it was an accident. We were in the garage and he was backing out his truck, but he knew I was there. He saw me and he didn't stop. The words hung in the air like poison. "But the worst part," Ethan continued, his voice breaking, "I heard him on the phone last week. He told someone, if something happens to the kid, I get everything. The house, the insurance, all of it." Marcus sat perfectly still. This wasn't just abuse. This was premeditated murder, slow and calculated, hidden behind the guise of a grieving uncle. "Ethan," Marcus's voice dropped lower, steady but firm. "I need you to tell me everything. I'm not going anywhere." "He locks the pantry," Ethan whispered. "Says I don't deserve to eat if I can't do my chores. He got the insurance money from my parents. $500,000. But he said it's all gone, that I'm too expensive. But I see the new truck, the new TV. He's not broke." Marcus's fists clenched. He knew exactly what was happening. This man saw his nephew as someone who stood between him and complete control of that inheritance. Marcus stood up slowly. Ethan's eyes went wide with panic. "You're not leaving me, are you?" He knelt until he was at eye level. "I'm not leaving you. Ever. But I'm going to make sure that man never hurts you again. Trust me." He stepped outside and called Brick. Child abuse. Possible murder plot. I need every brother within 20 miles of the copper beam now. What's going on? A kid who needs protection. And we're not waiting for the system to fail him. Say no more. We're coming. Within 20 minutes, motorcycles began arriving. Hell's Angels from 3 counties rolled in like a storm. Brick walked straight to Marcus. Marcus told him everything. The bruises, the starvation, the accident, the insurance money, the overheard phone call. Where's the boy? Inside at my table. What happened next was precision. 2 members went door to door in Ethan's neighborhood asking questions. People had noticed. One neighbor wondered why she hadn't seen the boy playing outside in months. Another admitted he'd heard screaming but hadn't called anyone. One woman said she'd called Child Protective Services twice. Both times, nothing happened. Inside the coffee shop, 3 others sat with Ethan, writing down every detail. Another member, a former cop named Daniels, got a CPS investigator on the line and laid out the facts. The investigator promised to be there within the hour. Marcus sat with Ethan the entire time, holding his hand. His brothers worked around them with quiet efficiency. One brother, Ghost, sat down across from them. My kids got the same shoes, he said. Size 4, right? I got a bunch she outgrew. I'll bring them by. You don't have to, Ethan said. Yeah, I do. That's what family does. Tank, who ran an auto body shop, leaned against the booth. When this is over, when the kid needs stuff, doctor appointments, therapy, whatever, you let me know. We take care of our own. When Ethan finally fell asleep in the booth, exhausted from crying and telling his story, Marcus stayed. He carefully moved the boy so his head rested against his shoulder and didn't move even when his arm went numb. When police arrived at the uncle's house that evening, he was in the garage working on his new truck, the same truck that had accidentally run over Ethan's leg. The officers cuffed him right there in the driveway. The police searched the house. They found Ethan's room, barely a room, more like a storage closet with a mattress on the floor. A lock on the outside kept people in. In one corner sat a cardboard box containing 3 shirts, 2 pairs of pants, and underwear with holes. That was everything Ethan owned. In the kitchen, they found the pantry padlocked shut. Next to the refrigerator was a detailed chart in the uncle's handwriting, tracking exactly what Ethan had eaten and when. Portions measured down to the ounce. Meals skipped as punishment. Days marked where the boy had been given nothing but water. This was systematic starvation, documented and calculated. In the uncle's office, they found insurance documents. The policy had paid out $500,000. Bank statements showed most of it was still there in accounts the uncle had set up in his own name. There were spreadsheets detailing his debts before the accident and his plans for the money after Ethan was gone. Most damning was a journal hidden in a locked drawer. Page after page detailed plans to reduce food intake gradually, ensure the prosthetic was uncomfortable, document behavioral problems. The last entry, dated 3 days before Ethan ran away, read, "Kids getting too weak to last much longer. Another month, maybe 2, then I'm free and clear. Nobody suspects a thing." This was murder by neglect, planned and executed with cold precision. Ethan was taken to Children's Medical Center that evening. Marcus rode with him, his hand never leaving his. At the hospital, doctors examined him. An orthopedic surgeon examined his prosthetic. 2 sizes too small, causing infected sores. "We're going to fix this," Dr. Mitchell said gently. "Get you fitted properly. You'll be able to run again." Ethan's eyes went wide. "Really? Really?" Marcus stayed through the night. Around 3 a.m., Ethan woke up screaming. Nightmares. Marcus was instantly at his side. "You're safe. He can't get you here. I dreamed he found me. That's not going to happen. There are 30 men outside this hospital right now keeping watch. And when you leave here, you're coming home with me. You really want me?" Ethan asked, his voice breaking. "Even though I'm broken?" Marcus leaned forward until he was eye level. "You're not broken. You're brave. You survived something that would have destroyed most adults. And yeah, kid, I really want you. I'd be lucky to be your family. Ethan cried then, but it was the kind of crying that comes with healing. 3 weeks later, Judge Patricia Chen looked at Ethan in the courtroom. What happened to you was not your fault. Now it's time to decide where you go from here. Is there someone you feel safe with? Ethan's hand wrapped around Marcus. He looked up at him first, then turned to the judge. His voice was clear and certain. Him. He saved me. Judge Chen smiled. Mr. Stone, do you understand what you're taking on? This isn't temporary. This is forever. Marcus looked down at Ethan. I know, ma'am, and I want that. Then that's exactly what's going to happen. 6 months later, the brothers threw Ethan a birthday party at Marcus' house. Balloons, streamers, a 3-layer cake with blue frosting, presents piled high. Everyone was there. The whole chapter, their families, children running and laughing. When they sang Happy Birthday, Ethan stood in front of that cake with a smile that wouldn't quit. Someone asked what he wished for. I already got it, he said. When the brothers started their motorcycles in unison, 30 engines roaring together, Ethan laughed from somewhere deep inside. Marcus steadied him when he wobbled. Ethan wrapped his arms around Marcus's neck and held tight. He whispered so quietly Marcus almost didn't hear it over the idling motorcycles. I'm home. 2 words. That meant everything.